Hi everyone. Today is January 8th, 2015. It's been 24 years since our beloved Steve Clark has passed away. And I'm really grateful that all of you are still followers of him, lovers of him, and I appreciate your posts and your emails and your notes asking for us to all get together and celebrate him once again. I know that we usually do a candlelight vigil at this time, so I'm going to ask you all, I'm sure you have your candles ready. And if you don't, so get them ready, and we'll light a candle together. And what I'm going to do now here is take you through a little memory lane where we can talk about fashion, Steve's fashion, since that was one of the things that we had in common together. He loved fashion. People don't know how involved he was in his dressing. And I think because we met in Paris and I was a fashion model, the two just sort of came together, and I became his stylist and his designer. Unbeknownst to me, we just sort of did it organically, just by late night conversations of how he wanted to present himself on stage and in front of the cameras and in the world. And I think you'll all agree that Steve was probably the hottest looking guy in rock and roll, one of the hottest looking guys in rock and roll. And whenever they played, especially on the Hysteria tour, the cameras would roll and he'd make the newspaper cover. So here we go. Let's light our candles, okay? We just want you to know, Steve, that right now our hearts are with you, and we love you, and we're grateful for you, and we appreciate the music that you left us with. That is the one thing that we all get to share about Steve. But right now, I'm showing you my sewing machine. Steve bought me this sewing machine. We were living in New York right at the beginning, before the Hysteria tour. And this is the machine that I created, the jackets that you see him wearing on stage. As you all know, his favorite polka dot, came before me, so I won't take credit for this because he wore this all through the Pyromania tour. So this is the original polka dot scarf that Steve wore. After that, when we got together, you know, I'm a California girl, I'm from the West, I'm a bit of a cowgirl, so I got him into these cowboy boots. When he first started, he was wearing capezios. I don't know if you can see it in these photographs that Ross Halfin took of us at the Whistle Lord studio. He's wearing these white capezios, and he wore those on stage all through the the Pyromania tour. And as you can see, here is another polka dot scarf. I have that one right here. This is one of the scarves that I made for him. And he's got his little leather jacket on, and now his hair starts to grow out from the mullet, and I start to get him to grow his hair longer into one length as he had during the Hysteria tour that you'll see here. Some of the other things that I would like to show you are the designs, you know, the ideas that we got. Steve and I would talk, and he loved Jimmy Page. He loved that Jimmy Page wore those bell-bottom pants with like snakes down the side and all this really cool embroidered things, especially roses. He loved roses. So that gave me the idea to create this jacket for him. Here, these roses are basically cut out from Harley Davidson scarves. And these conches, another sort of Western idea, came from, you know, just shopping in New York, down in the accessories district, down in the garment district, just below the garment districts where all the accessories are sold, all the threads, all the ribbons and bows and kitsch ideas. So this was the first one I made, and he wore it on stage the first night at the Hysteria tour. And then he said, you know what, Mark, this is going to scratch my guitar in the front. So I had to, at first I thought I would just remove them, but he ended up wearing them for pictures, and I made him a second one that didn't have the conch belts around the front, so he didn't have to scratch the back of his beloved Les Paul guitars. And here, this one here, okay, now you have to remember, everyone, it was the 80s, and Michael Jackson was back to back with the Hysteria tour. So the first ideas we got were sort of Sgt. Pepper, sort of Michael Jackson styles. And so this was made in New York City along with a girlfriend of mine named Vishna, who helped me design these things. She got me going on this. And when we presented it to Steve, you can see these are supposed to come across the front. And we presented it to Steve, and Steve said, no, Moth, I think that's a little bit over the top, you know. So this never really actually got worn, but I just wanted to show you sort of an evolution of how this all happened. And here is, I didn't design this, but I want to show you that this is Steve's tour jacket from the Hysteria tour, and it's made of satin, and you all know that logo very well. But there's this little name. And let's see, what else do I want to share with you? The boots, we talked about the boots. And over here we have, okay, so here's this conch belts. These are some of the little accessories. Here is the little hammer that I would nail things down with. Here's some stars. Here's some epaulettes that we thought we would use, but as it turned out, we thought that was a little over the top, although I did use them on the white jacket. You'll remember the white jacket that had the Swiss flag and the Australian flag on it. These are some of the flags that I had bought down in the garment district in New York back at that time, and I just let him choose which ones that he liked, and I put those all over that white jacket. And I'm sorry, I don't know where that jacket is, so I can't show it to you, but I'm sure that it's in the videos somewhere from the Hysteria tour. And then what else? Here's some more. This is a Confederate flag. We thought that might be an idea. We have some stars and things. These were things that would have gone on more jackets had we kept going. I don't know where we would have put them, but these were all just little items that I collected to stick on things, you know. And then I used hammer, nails, I used glue. I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just flying by the seat of my pants on my living room floor in New York City and just creating stuff. So, you know, anybody can do any of this stuff. It's just use your imagination. Here are some of the backstage passes from all the tours. And what else have I got to show you? The, down here we have this jacket, which he wore. I loved designing this jacket and sticking all these little things on it. You'll notice he loved it. He called it his flight jacket. And notice all the little guitars on it. This was one of his favorites, just everyday jackets. He wore this a lot. And also, I have some of his belts. This one has pirates on it. These are little pirate doodads. And you can see how little his little waist was. These were... So I would just shop for him, or we would shop together. He would come to New York when I would be doing the collections on his breaks, and we'd get together and we'd shop. And he loved to go shopping, which is really great for a boyfriend because most guys don't like to shop. But these were some of these. You remember he had a black one of these on the Hysteria tour that he wore a lot with the rose jacket. And then here's a pair of his little old jeans. You can see that they were about to be mended. Never got around to that, just didn't happen. And then you might also recall that he would wear a lot of my clothes. He would get into my closet and he would pull things out, and he'd be, all of a sudden, I'd see them in a photograph and I wouldn't know that they were gone from my closet. There they would be in a picture in some newspaper. I was like, what are you doing with my shirt? That's my striped shirt, or whatever. And one of the things that he did love of mine was this Hermes vest. It's red velvet. It's made from Hermes. I was working for Hermes at the time in Paris, so I was able to get some discounts. And he wore this on Christmas when we were in Canada, and there's some pictures. I have pictures. They're posted somewhere from some Christmas where he's actually wearing this. You'll find those. And, well, these are our pictures, the Ross Halfin pictures. And here is only 5 million sales. They said it was multi-platinum sales, but at this time there was only 5 million. But you might recall that they ended up selling something like 8 million on that tour, and they were the first rock and roll band to really have 7 hit singles off of one record, and so that's the reason why it just kept selling and selling and selling. So there were more that came after this, but those probably arrived after the end of the tour, and as you know, probably his family has them. And what else? Here would be something that I would use to sew on something. I would just find interesting things, and then I would just sew them on things or glue them or hammer them or whatever. And then of course here is a little patch from the Hysteria tour. And yeah, that's what we have here, just a few of his items, and I just wanted to share them with you. So thank you for your love and your support and your friendship and your heartfelt wishes for Steve. I encourage you all to be creative, follow your dreams, keep listening to the music, and blessings to all of you. Thanks, Steve.